In the future, death is not allowed because humans have mastered a spell called the resurrection spell, which comes at no cost. Simply draw the corresponding geometric pattern on the ground and recite the deceased's information to begin the resurrection. Scientists who had died at first were rushed to life, and human technology made leapfrog progress in just a few years. Later, resurrection evolved into a privilege for the elite and middle class, and insurance companies commercialized it, completely losing its defense control by the year 2133. After all, the Earth's population is at the 50 billion mark. War and famine swept across the globe. To end the chaos, the heads of state were forced to sign 33 conventions. Request after death. One must last at least 50 years. Only then can they be bound by resurrection. The population surge was finally curbed, and I happened to be shortly after the convention was signed. He died in an accident. No one knows how many years have passed. When I was finally resurrected, he inexplicably finds himself in this prison called Tar. Brothers, I have raised you back. Do you still remember your name? What kind of place is this? You just said you brought me back to life. So that means I died before. Don't you know how you died? Then you still know where you used to live. Who do they know? There's something wrong with this person. He was questioned by him. I immediately became alert. He secretly mobilized his spiritual power, trying to subdue him with his cultivation level based on the original voice from his previous life. But I only realized it in the moment it was running, after dying and being reborn. After I mastered my original voice, my cultivation vanished into thin air. At this moment, he was no different from an ordinary person. Why are you silent? I'm asking you. What's your name? Where to stay? Tell me. I can help you verify your identity. Then register. Register. All those who have been raised must be registered. Then the space station will assign you work, and a place to stay, eat and water. A space station? It seems I am in the midst of mountains and seas. Or extreme environments such as outer space. Moreover, militarized management is applied here. Humanity is very likely to suffer disaster. I'm really sorry. My head really hurts a lot. Can you let me rest for a bit? Give me a sip of water. I'll cooperate with you once I recover. I guess that's fine. Can't you just cooperate? Why don't you cooperate? Something's off. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. Don't click me. Quilt. The one who revived was Deng Bing, born at 9:13 a.m. on August 1, 2035. The place of injury was Southeast Asian Chinese, those who have been resurrected. What does that mean? This unbelievable scene left me utterly shocked. Witness the entire process. I have some fog. There are two conditions for the resurrection spell. The first is the geometric patterns on the ground. Second, accurately state the information about the resurrected person. Precisely because of this, Deng Bing kept questioning me about my identity. The reason you were just shocked, it was because they couldn't find out my identity, right? According to regulations, as long as I don't find out your identity, he was about to be electrocuted by the mechanical arms inside the tower. And then after, it's your turn. It's my turn. What does that mean? Brothers, don't blame me. Everyone in the tower went through it this way. I'll torment you later. You don't have to force yourself to hold on. Let me ask you, if you need to say something, just say it. Whether it's your parents, and even relatives and friends, or maybe it's your own experience. Everything needed to be said, but I understood. Got it? So you want to torture me? Ask what my relatives and friends are called, then resurrect them to this place as well. The purpose of this place, all for resurrection, then torture people, like electric torture. Fire burns, that was just daily routine. Then wait for you to die, and then bring you back to life. Then torture again, never stopping. This place is hell after all. And a terrifying laboratory with insane terror. I have to find a way to escape. I forgot to tell you. This place does not provide food or drinks, So those who come here not only suffer hardship, sometimes they even starve to death with thirst. Then he was resurrected, and continued to go hungry. For his intimidation, I kept a blank expression from start to finish. He couldn't help but praise with a quick exclamation. Brothers, your mental resilience is really impressive. No one knows if they'll last long. How about it? Now she's willing to confess. I can tell, you didn't seem to be pretending. You really can't feel any pain. How did you do that? I chuckled softly. He said nothing. After dying and being reborn, though I cultivate myself close to the corpse, but the strength of the soul, it can still be compared, because of his cultivators, enough to suppress and lead the way. But there was no response. Let me think. You can never feel it. Any pain, pure physical harm. It doesn't work on me. Can you teach me this? Please. I'm begging you. As long as you can teach me. Whatever you want me to do, I'm fine. You want to learn my spells so badly. I'm the one who's the reason you'll be tormented just like I do. Yes. This torment comes in cycles. Now it's my turn to torment you. But in another 20 years, maybe it'll be someone else who torments me. Then let another 20 years pass like this. Then it was me torturing others again. And then it never stops. So what was the purpose of doing this? Not sure. All I know is that this place is called Tar. Then everyone locked in the tower. You have to keep tormenting like this. The person who stayed the longest inside the tower, it is said that it has been imprisoned for over 2,000 years. Over 2,000 years, even if the person here could keep coming back to life. But over time, it might drive people crazy. He could go crazy. However, those who go mad will come back to life after death. It will return to normal. Wow, this resurrection spell not only reshapes the physical body, it can even refresh your mental state. The consciousness of the resurrected remains clear. No matter how much you want to go crazy, you can't go crazy. Only endless discounts are available. For the prisoners inside the tower, being alive is the greatest terror. Death has become a luxury. No wonder he longed so much for the method of ignoring pain. I have another question. If one person is resurrected, you must first know his name. Then you don't know my name. And how did he resurrect me? Playing the law of a poor servant. To resurrect someone, you don't necessarily have to know this person's name. As long as you know this person's heavy responsibilities, or they experienced it to the point of no end. He could use the geometric patterns on the ground. He brought people back to life. And if he fails to revive, then I'll change my surname again, until all the 100 family surnames had been tested. Though this exhaustive method is clumsy, but it was indeed feasible. As long as there is enough time, even if he brought everyone in Gu Wang back to life, it's not impossible. No, it is not allowed. I can't chat with you anymore. Otherwise, once the values on the screen drop below 50%, I would suffer. What does that mean? See that? Once you were tormented by me, the value on the screen will increase. And my mission, it is precisely to ensure the values displayed on the screen. It has consistently remained above 50%. If I don't do it, I will be like before. He was crushed alive by the ironclad hand. To complete the mission, I do it almost every day. Perform high-frequency compound maintenance for you. About 15 hours. These 15 physiological limits are hard to overcome. So your body, it is done almost every day. A system reset once. After that, it was about myself. Because this place does not provide any supplies, so I have to do it regularly. Proactively restart the loop. Otherwise, his physiological skills would completely collapse. Let's talk this far. By this time, my body was already riddled with wounds. A pungent smell filled the entire room. In the blink of an eye, I found myself inside this tower. He stayed for nearly 3 years. As the cause of its great power, I consider myself very patient. Every moment of these 3 years has been searching for a chance to escape. But forget about towers. Even this core ballroom, I haven't even taken a single step away. Because during these 3 years, there has never been any change inside the tower. No riots, no prison visits. Even the management staff have never interacted with us. The door to the room hadn't even been opened. This is simply an unsolvable situation. As usual, the value on the screen is 56%, up to 90% of the time. Deng Bin finally stopped. That's about it. Honestly, brother, you really have the ability to feel no pain. People like you who were tormented. Almost every day in the tower was a life worse than death. But for those who are tormented, death is just a luxury. After all, people inside the tower will be revived continuously. Praying for death means you will never find peace. You're different. I torment you like this every day, exhausted like a dog. But you, on the contrary, are completely fine. Brothers, I was starting to feel a bit overwhelmed. I'm going to get some sleep first, as usual. If the number on that screen drops to 52%, and if I still haven't woken up, remember to call me. Don't worry. You can sleep as much as you want. I'll keep an eye on the screen for you, good brothers. About 3 hours passed, and my body was covered in wounds, unable to hold on any longer. My vision went black and I was completely lost consciousness. Not long after I died, the room suddenly echoed with electronic nuclear sounds. Those who were revived bear the surname Xie, born on August 23, 1999, 9:13 a.m. After 3 years of observation, I have come to a pattern. After each resurrection, I am once again restrained by the mechanical arm. But it takes time to react, with about a minute or two of free time for me to move freely. That's the only thing I have right now, opportunity. Before the robotic arm could move, I quickly and stopped pressing down on Zhu Shendashue. Stimulated by the excitement, his expression began to writhe in a strange way. Red mist kept pouring out. This is my cultivation world. A secretary blood-burning technique he obtained by stimulating acupoints to burn qi and blood. Grants extremely strong burst power in a short time. At this moment, with the secretary's blessing, I was filled with strength. What a commotion. What are you doing? I originally wanted to take advantage of the breath and blood still spent, rushed to a distance to observe, but he hadn't acted yet. Several hands holding round balls. They had already surrounded them from both front and rear. Ping's sharp indifference. I clearly saw these guards running around. His chest remained completely flat. It was as if he didn't need to breathe at all. These guards are not human. Return. The surname of the living is Xie, born in 1999, February 23, 1:13 a.m. How did you just get out? The guards inside this tower have issues. You even saw through this. How? You've known this secret for a long time. It's not really a secret. I heard it from others too. The guards in this prison. In fact, none of them are human, but because he looked so much like a person, so in private, we always call those guards great men. Great men? The weapons held by those great figures were balls that emitted red light. Do you recognize what that is? It should be futuristic technology. You were born in 1999. And I was born in 2035. Our birthdays aren't actually that much different years apart. So that kind of weapon, if you don't recognize it, then I definitely wouldn't recognize him either. I calculated in my heart, just seeing the speed and power of the red light. At the very least, I need to support his strength to stand up to him. But here, I die almost every day. After death, his cultivation was exhausted. There was simply no way to just sit back and cultivate or develop. Trying to escape but not possible. Development doesn't work. I just felt a wave of exhaustion. Do you know how long you've been in this prison? According to regulations, the prison rotates every 10 to 20 years. So I'll calculate each round as 15 years. Starting from after my resurrection, I think I was tortured 6 times in total. As for me torturing others, not counting you, this time there are 5 times in total. Adding 1 yuan equals 11 times. That is, a total of 165 years. During these 65 years, have you ever seen someone escape alive from the tower? No? And let alone actually running out. No one even proposed a theoretical plan. I've already been in the tower for 11 rounds. In other words, I have met a total of 11 UU friends. Then these UU friends have met countless people. So many of us. They must all hope to escape the tower. But regarding this issue, even though I discussed it countless times with others, but still, no conclusion could be reached. Anyway, I think, relying solely on us prisoners locked inside the tower, there was no way to escape. If you want to break out, you have to cooperate with the humans outside the tower. I feel hopeful that I can't reach it. After all, you said it before, some have been in this tower for over 2,000 years. So if there really are humans outside, it shouldn't have been so long and there was still no sign of anything. Indeed, the others in the tower thought the same. They all thought that everyone outside the tower must have already died. For example, war has made the Earth's environment unsuitable for survival. Even with the resurrection spell, humans can no longer survive. Staying in this tower prison was just too unbearable, especially knowing he couldn't escape. So I planned to feel my own consciousness. To put it simply, it was about scratching yourself to death, becoming a vegetative patient. As a result, even if I have to stay in the tower for decades or even centuries, even over 1,000 years, it was nothing more than a flick of the finger and a sharp tip. You can erase your own consciousness. How did you apply it? You can think of it as mental power. My mental strength is innate. They were much better than ordinary people, so I can easily do it. Closure has always been insensitive so that you don't feel the pain, and then I can do it too. Actively erase your own consciousness, turning yourself into a brain-dead state. Of course, this state is definitely irreversible, so it's basically suicide. But the problem is, isn't there still a resurrection spell? So even if my brain is dead, it wasn't really a big problem, since your ability is innate. Does that mean I can't learn it? So, I never gave you this ability. It's not that I don't want to. There really is no way to make friends. I'm worried about my brain death. A sudden change of master will occur in the tower prison. For example, humans outside come to rescue us, to seize the chance to escape. When the time comes, you must remember to kill me. That way, I could come back from the dead. Then he regained consciousness. Rather than waiting for people outside to come rescue us, better to pray for the Earth to explode sooner. In this way, we too can be liberated. I'm just giving an example. This kind of opportunity doesn't necessarily have to be someone outside to save me. Something has happened inside the tower prison. Or if there is a natural disaster like an earthquake, destroy the tower, although the chances are very small. But what if, right? And then in return, if one day in the future, we really escaped from this jar, I will teach you the method of cultivation, so that you can become an immortal through cultivation. It's the kind that can fly and travel through the air. Immortal. What exactly were you doing before being resurrected? All right then, I promise you. If something happens to the tower, I will kill you immediately. But don't forget your promise. I will never forget. Yang Ba closed his eyes. No more words. If I force it, it will only cause my soul to collapse. In terms of attack speed, it's basically brain death. But this skill is a bad thing. Inside the tower, it actually became a way to escape torment. Under Deng Bing's watchful eyes, scratching my soul, I suddenly tilted my head. There was no movement. Exist. God. With the help of souls leaving their bodies, unknowingly, I spent more than 10 years in the tower. After this day of resurrection, I noticed a string of countdown stones on the screen. 6 hours, 32 minutes, and 17 seconds. Hey, wake up. What? It's over. Our time has come. The next cycle is about to begin. The next cycle. Does that mean I'm the one torturing you? But not to torture me. It was time for the next cycle. He will arrange for you to torment others. As for me, he would arrange for me to be tortured in another room. Brothers, you are the vast majority of people, although your mental state will be refreshed. But what about the wine supply? I have some doubts in my heart, especially those who have been locked up for hundreds or even centuries. Anyway, it's just a tough tea. If I'm responsible for torture, it doesn't matter. But the problem is the next cycle. I am tormented. There's something I've always wanted to ask. When I first arrived, you once indirectly asked about my relatives and friends. If I had said so, what will happen? Of course, it's a reward. Every cycle, the tower will give prisoners a period of freedom to move. Go resurrect someone who has never appeared in the tower. Successfully reviving grants rewards. For example, staying in this cycle for 1 or 2 more years, or give them some food and water, or even assign a woman directly to your room. Think about it. You haven't eaten or drunk for decades. Suddenly, I took a bite, taking advantage of the last bit of time. We chatted idly and casually. Very soon, only 30 minutes left on the countdown, to the Deng soldiers who pretended to be calm and composed. Finally, it collapses greatly. Brothers, I really don't want to do this anymore. 20 years. In the next reincarnation, I will suffer nearly 20 years of torment. I really want to die. Dream of it. Brother Xiongsheng, let me ask you seriously. Do you think you could escape from this tower? Maybe it can. Then you must remember this. I beg you to remember. My name is Deng Bing. Ice in table tennis. Born on August 1st 2035. 93 parts. If one day you really escape, please, surely, resurrect me. I'll work like a beast of burden for you, even if it means being a slave forever. Very soon, count down to the time to return. The temperature in the royal room rose sharply. Sweat pours out from our bodies. Then he was burned, until it completely burned out. Those who have been resurrected. His surname was Xie. Born in 1999, February 23rd, 1:13 a.m. Accompanied by the familiar He Chengyin, I regained consciousness again. Look around. The Deng soldiers had already vanished without a trace. A countdown on the screen. It turned into a long string of prompts. On the left are all human surnames, and then the birth date. Clearly, he wanted me to use the poor living method to arrange and combine things. Resurrect humanity. I have no intention of resurrecting others. He never took any action. No one knew how much time had passed. The screen suddenly went off. The room echoed with He Chengyin. Those who have been resurrected. Born on August 13th 1980. 9 o'clock. Born in Asian Chinese. This time, no one has come back to life on the lifting core pattern. He Chengyin ignored me. He kept repeating Li Xiu's name and birth date over and over again. "39. 80. You're counting these numbers. I'm afraid you'll erase all those numbers. So he kept making the most of the time. The problem is, I didn't do it as you said. This means you probably just arrived at the tower not long ago. Her mental state is still relatively healthy. This is from the tone you spoke to me. Expression, you can also tell from their attitude. So what use are these tricks in your calculations? It's more like a quirk. I'm naturally sensitive to numbers. When tormented, to make time pass faster, I use counting methods to distract myself. Is it really just because he's a bit of a rascal? Aren't you going to make a move? Don't torment me again. Those mechanical beasts are about to shock you. I did not respond, still staring at the numbers on the ground, trying to unravel the mysteries within. This indifferent attitude left Li Xiu puzzled. Under Li Xiu's gaze, countless mechanical beasts knocked me to the ground. Rapidly release the current. Although the current is not large, yet it can cause suffering before death. Li Xiu thought I would scream and beg for mercy. But what surprised him was, I kept a blank expression from start to finish, as if nothing had happened, until he was electrocuted to death. I didn't even let out a single scream. He never even furrowed his brow. Subjected to electric torture. Only 49% of the screen count. Length up to 70%. Synthesized sound sounded. Those who have been resurrected. His surname was Xie. Born on February 23, 1999. 1:13 a.m. Don't you feel pain? How did they do it? The string of numbers you wrote earlier. What exactly is its function? At first, I'm afraid of your mental health. It's all for show, so I didn't dare to challenge you for everything. But now I feel relieved. You really have no issues in your heart, no matter how you speak, expression, or your ability to not feel pain. All of this can be attested. So I plan to work with you. I don't know if you've already guessed it. Actually, the numbers I recorded before. This is the exact time I arrived at Tower Prison, accurate to the second. Just as I expected. You previously wrote 6 sets of numbers. If it's about recording time, these numbers correspond exactly to years, month, day, sometimes minutes and seconds. Not bad. According to the pattern I summarized, every cycle in the Tower Prison, the interval duration is always fixed, or rather, this duration fluctuates permanently up to 20 years, and it will only happen in 11 years, 12 years, 19 years, or 20 years, but it absolutely cannot be a number of 11 years and 3 months. Can you understand? Got it? You go on. After leaving these conditions, then it becomes much simpler to push back the start of the next cycle. For example, the number I just wrote it's 398, 15, 14, 22, 50. So correspondingly, the time when our current cycle begins, it was August 15, 1939, 14 hours 22 minutes and 50 seconds. Suppose we are around this cycle. There is a total interval of 15 years, so the next cycle will begin. It's easy to get it out. That is, August 15, 1954, 14 hours 22 minutes and 50 seconds. That's why you go to such lengths. That is, the cycle of time. What exactly is it for? If I say so, I can rely on this time. Escape from the Tower Prison. Do you believe it? How do you plan to escape? I looked him over carefully. I want to see what he relies on. No need to think twice. I'm just an ordinary person. If I had to say something special, maybe it's just that he's smarter than most people. But you, why don't you feel any pain? Born with it? Or maybe they used some special method. Don't worry. No matter what you tell me, even the tower's management couldn't possibly hear it. What does that mean? Those great figures in the Tower Prison, have you heard of it? I've heard of it. What's wrong? The biggest difference between great men and humans, they simply do not possess the trait of emotional emotion. Besides that, they do whatever they do. All must follow pre-established rules and regulations. It's like a machine. Let me give you an analogy. If a great figure happened to pass by outside our room, then they happened to overhear us talking. They even heard we planned to escape. He still couldn't do anything to us. Because the rules inside the tower were upright. It doesn't specify what to do in such situations. Got it? Let's go by your example. Aren't those great figures in the tower just a bunch of machines? Not really. They are considered real humans, or rather, they were real creatures. In the past, many people also thought great men were robots, but later, someone accidentally caught a great man and dissected him. They found that their body structure was almost identical to that of humans. The similarity rate is 99.9%. Only the brain and humans have a little bit of doubt. I spent a long time chatting with great men who shared the same principles, not knowing how he would escape from indirect probing and indirect tactics, but he still doesn't fully trust me. He has always refused to reveal the key points. In the days to come, we may spend a lifetime together, and any sign of trouble, I can find out right away. There is no need to rush in a single moment. Since we became UU, in the blink of an eye, nearly a year has passed. This time, although I am responsible for torment, but she never took the initiative to lay hands on him, not my saint. Instead, it is about completing the task. He had to be tortured for more than 15 hours every day. It's even more agonizing than 996. Anyway, I don't feel any pain. I'd rather be crushed by a mechanical arm just to maintain my stats. He couldn't be bothered to bother with that. Li Xiu was deeply grateful for this. After a year together, he finally trusted me completely. Tell the plan truthfully. Have you heard of space stations? Space station. It's the kind of manned spacecraft that flies in outer space. You can imagine it's much bigger, and there are many people who escaped from Tower Prison there. So you want to escape to the space station? Yes. How do you escape? Suicide, then resurrect from the past? Smart. After all, not to mention we're all locked up in Tower Prison. Even if we weren't locked up here, we couldn't possibly go to the crooked outer space. So the simplest and most direct way to escape is to commit suicide and wait for the space station staff to revive us. So rather than saying we're escaping, it's more accurate to say the space station is fighting for people in Hater Prison. I get what you mean. But the problem is, the electronic synthesizer in the tower prison will revive us the moment we die. But the people on the space station don't know when we will die. If you arrange for someone to call our name 24 hours a day, and to have any date of our birth, it's not that we can't be resurrected, but the cost of doing so is too high, since there are far more than just the two of us on Earth. Humans from ancient times to the present are all together, at least several hundred billion. You're absolutely right. The resurrection factory of the space station. It's impossible to take perfect care of a person, so they had to rotate continuously, using luck to revive people. To be specific, the space station will accommodate a small group of people, starting from midnight on January 1, 1900 AD, in the order of the 100 families' prosperity, trying to resurrect the dead one by one. It's basically not much different from the desperate tactic used in the tower prison. Then, when the space station happened to be muttering your name, and then, at that moment, you happen to die in the tower prison, then you have a chance to be revived on the space station. But the probability of this is very, very small. Every time you die, the chance is about 1 in hundreds of thousands, can revive on a space station. Because the odds are simply too small, so the unlucky ones, he might be locked up in tower prison for over 1,000 years. It might not even make it to the space station once. Since the probability is only 1 in hundreds of thousands, then a normal death should be very difficult to go to. So what is your plan? I just said. The resurrection of the space station is orderly. They will start from the very first minute of the year 1900, gradually moving back in the order of the 100 schools. So as long as we just happen to say the name, suicide on his own, and they can be revived 100% on the space station. Timing the time? Your method isn't very realistic, is it? Time must be set properly. You need to know when the space station will start resurrecting people. But how do you know? And that's not easy. You thought it was a year ago, when I had just been resurrected. Why are you desperately trying to count the time? That's when you start planning. Went to the space station. The exact time of my resurrection, it should be August 15, 6139. 14 hours 22 minutes and 50 seconds. Tower's electronic display. It will be pressed every 36 minutes. The rate of decline is reduced by 1%. This makes it easy to calculate. The value dropped from 70% to 50%. It was exactly 12 hours. Electronic display screens. It's like our clock. As long as it is here, you can calculate the exact time of appearance. But resurrection is ultimately not machine-operated. You previously said it was handled manually, but the timing can't be 100% accurate. Some read quickly, some recite slowly. In this situation, how can you guarantee when you die, the other person happened to call your name? Manual operation can cause errors. This is indeed a problem. But space stations don't keep idle people. Management has regulations. The person responsible for resurrection, every minute must be read aloud. 10 names and ancestral years. Neither too much nor too little. Although this may have some discrepancies, but it has dropped to an acceptable range. The space station has been arranged in total. 1,080 people rotate in 2 shifts. There are a total of 504 letters from the 100 families. According to each person's portion, 10 names at speed, from 190 years to 2133. It takes about 2.33 years. That means 2 years and 4 months. That's not long. Even if it's due to error. We didn't succeed this time. Just wait another 2 years and 4 months. Then there will be another chance. Impressive. By the way, why does the space station only revive? What about those born between 1900 and 2133? Is it because there aren't enough manpower? This is just a small part of the reasons. The most important thing is, people born before 1900, generally low levels of education, low acceptance of high technology, resurrect them to the space station. It's easy for problems to arise. Alright then, and one last question. It's also the most crucial part of your plan. The order of the 100 family surnames. Do you still remember? Your surname is Li, Zhao, Qian, Sun, and Li, ranked 4th. But my surname is Xie. Which rank is it? If the ranking is lower, I really don't think I'll remember it lightly, but thank you. Kongkao blazed with splendor. Jin guarded Dao River, then came the 7 Xiezu Yu. If I remember correctly, your surname ranks 34th. Now that I know the ranking of the 100 family surnames, the timing pattern of electronic display screens, the time required for each resurrection round on the space station, plus the exact timing of my resurrection, Put all these together for calculation. You can know about the space station. When did you hear our names? In theory, it can indeed be calculated precisely, but your method is quite effective, but the calculation is simply too heavy. We have a calculator, 2 sheets of paper. Is it really safe to just calculate directly? The exact time now is September the 17th, 13 hours and 50 seconds, 61:40, and the time I was resurrected was December 31st, 1940, 1001 minutes. No difference is accurate to the second. As for you, you will be on February 15th, 1941. 1006 points had their names read aloud. Similarly, because the indifferent cannot be precise to the second, cultivation cannot improve intelligence. I have regained nearly 1,000 generations of life. I've seen all kinds of people, but in front of Li Xiu, yet it is inevitable that the heart will be drawn to the truth. His emotional intelligence might not be high, but intelligence is absolutely a true genius. Impressive. Your computing power. I truly serve. During the waiting period, I asked him for information about the space station. That space station called Tiangong. It was built by the Chinese people in 2022. I traveled to the cultivation world in 2025. I've heard a bit about him. This was my era. It is only 110 square meters, 3 permanent residents. Unexpectedly, more than 4,000 years later, it has developed into a giant space city that can accommodate hundreds of thousands of people. As for how it developed, how can he use it to seize the people? Li Xiu was unsure. He is extremely intelligent but emotionally clever. On the space station, it barely counts as a mid-level layer. Unable to access secrets, time quickly moved to December 31st, 6140 AD, 00101 points. From the space station, he read out Li Xiu's message. Only 1 hour remained. I had already taken tools out of the dark chamber in advance. Make sure to help end his life as soon as possible. I'll teach you. Timing is done through electronic display screens. You've learned it all. When I was studying, his math scores are still decent. This amount of computation, I'm fine. Alright then, one last thing, you must remember this, that was inside the Tiangong space station. It's very likely that someone will be bribed by the tower prison. In other words, the mole. To obtain the tower prison reward, the mole will try every possible way. Go kill people like you and me, someone who stands out in a certain box. And then, except for the insider, inside the space station, and many other monsters and demons. So after you arrive at the space station, be sure to keep a low profile. Alright. More reminders. 1, 2, 3. Quick. Kill me. Alright. Li Xiu, who was resurrected, born on March 13, 1980. 9 o'clock. Come on, kill me again. Difficult. The Daoist teachings were not understood by the disciples. Keep going, kill me, kill me. He Chengying repeatedly recited Li Xiu's message for 2 consecutive days, but no matter how many times he repeats it, he was nowhere to be seen on Huan. I finally confirmed that he had successfully escaped prison. This method works, just as Li Xiu said. Great men do not understand how to do things. Adaptability. After he left, he didn't assign me any new lustful friends. Everything remained as before. His surname was Xie, born at 1:13 a.m. on August 23, 1999. This time, it finally succeeded. My soul seemed to be slowly rising, as if being pulled in. During the process, I got a clear view of the entire prison. It truly lives up to its name. It is a tower hundreds of stories tall. Each floor is divided into thousands of alloy rooms. The people inside screamed in agony, enduring endless pain. A rough calculation, the rooms number no less than several 100,000. As the soul continues to rise, when leaving the tower to overlook the land, I actually witnessed the desperate truth that harms others. Looking around, on the surface, Countless towers were densely supported. The quantity is so great, enough to trap all humanity inside. My name is Xieshen. After relentless effort, I finally managed to escape hell for a while. Those who have been resurrected. His surname was Xie, born on February 23, 1999, 1:13 a.m. Don't touch me. You. Calm down, calm down. You're no longer in his prison. It's all over. Hello, welcome to Tiangong Space Station. I am Yang Sai, the psychologist in charge of reception. Is this your first time being resurrected? It's no longer the 21st or 22nd century, but more than 4,000 years later. Today is February 15, 6141 AD. This is not the first time I have been resurrected. Before coming to the space station, I spent some time in Tower Prison. How is that possible? You stayed in the tower, and his emotions could be so stable. With your attitude, I can't tell at all that you've been abused. Could it be? You barely revived in the tower before being revived in the space station, right? I'm not sure. I've been in the tower for nearly 20 years, right? Is that considered long? 20 years. You stayed in the tower for a whole cycle of reincarnation. He actually managed to act so normal. I worked as a psychologist on the space station for more than 2 years. I've seen many people come out of the tower. Within it, nearly 10 parts lasted. All require psychological treatment to gradually recover. But it seems you don't have to do that. The authenticity has not yet been verified. He asked me about many details about the inside of the tower. I respond with great words as if they were flowing water. It proves that I have indeed stayed in the tower for a long time. Your mental resilience is really impressive. According to the space station's regulations, people like you can get preferential treatment. Preferential treatment, yeah. Everyone revived on the space station must undergo psychological evaluation first. The higher the score, the better the job position you are assigned. On the other hand, if the score is too low, the space station will be shut down for a period of observation. Based on your current psychological state, I gave you an S rating. No problem, right? Is S the highest rating? Of course, accepted. Alright then, next, start registering your name. Before registering, I need to tell you first, a person's name can be more than one. For example, you were born with the name Xiaohong. After growing up, he changed his name to Xiaobai. Then both will sit in your name. Whether it's a tower or a space station, any resurrection spell you call will take effect. So even if you register a fake name or a numeric number, will be accepted as their real name. Do you understand what I mean? So I suggest you just say your real name, at this point. Of course, I wouldn't use a fake name. My full name is Xieshen. Xieshen, right? Do you have any special talents? For example, what work he did before his resurrection? I have lived for nearly 1,000 years in 3 lifetimes, but he had only been on Earth for less than 24 years. At 24, he had just graduated from university. He then transmigrated into the cultivation world. So on Earth, he never did any proper work. As for matters in the cultivation world, you can't exactly tell him I'm a cultivator, can you? I was before I was resurrected. Has worked in herbal cultivation. The flow of various plants and animals. Basically, you can name a few things. You know how to do planting. Then I'll write about planting in the file. No problem, right? Just a reminder, doing planting inside a space station is still a bit difficult. If you can't do anything while working, if you try to change it later, it will be a hassle. Write it down. 6 sets of needle repairs. Inspire and win over the audience. My greatest expertise is cultivating spiritual plants. Resting on this path for nearly 1,000 years, I am fully capable of this kind of work. Due to severe overload on the space station, a newcomer like me, they could only stay in capsule rooms of less than 4 square meters. They are like a honeycomb, densely embedded in metal cubes. Below is a cafeteria, public restrooms, and the bathing area. Alright. I've already put your fingerprint into the system. On the space station, daily consumption is all based on a points-based system. No matter what you did, almost all of them consume points. For example, eating, drink water, take a bath, go to the bathroom. Even going to the bathroom is necessary. Is it really that exaggerated? What do you think? Urine excreted requires sewage treatment systems. Convert it into purified water. This consumes resources. Even your breathing. It also consumes resources. Space warfare requires processing carbon dioxide. Even methane. Oxygen supply is also needed. This is outer space. So even if you don't eat or drink, do nothing, points will also be deducted bit by bit, until it resets to 0. If the points reset to 0, what will happen? You will be exiled. They would send you to forcibly cancel your status, and then, as expected, it won't be long before you'll be resurrected inside the tower prison. By then, I want to come back. So you have to rely purely on luck. Luck has been on his side for decades. Bad luck. Hundreds or even thousands of years. Of course, you don't need to worry too much. The space station allows everyone overdraw up to 10,000 points. It should serve as a buffer. As long as you pay back on time and with all your effort, you'll be fine. Of course, daily expenses are very low. Points earned by an ordinary person working in 1 day. At least you can stay here for 5 days. As for the Jieshishi point, 1 day of work is enough to stay for more than 10 days. The treatment is surprisingly good, but the people I met along the way, it seemed like everyone was working desperately. I didn't see that lazy person either. That's because points are used for daily expenses. It can also be used to revive the space station. If you have accumulated nearly 1 million points, at this point, the space station will consume points at a rate of 1 point per second. Let people call your name day and night to resurrect you. Maintains until revived or points are depleted. Simply put, the more points you save when you die, the more likely it is to be revived by the space station. That's why everyone here works so hard, even if no one forced them. After all, staying inside the tower prison, that torment wasn't something just anyone could endure. Got it. Got it. Thank you for informing me. No need to thank me. I just think you look pretty good. His presence is strong enough. That's why I'm telling you so much. If you like me too, remember to contact me. I've already added you as a personal terminal friend. The girls on the space station are all this open. Or maybe my values can't keep up with the times. As the cause of the cause, he is the reincarnation of great power. I've seen all kinds of women in the cultivation world. Among them were many who voluntarily joined in, so there was no inner turmoil. I just want to get familiar with the environment as quickly as possible. Seek opportunities to embark on the path of cultivation again. Only with strength can you hold a voice. This is the foundation of one's existence. Cultivators in seclusion need to find places rich in spiritual energy, setting up a spiritual formation. But the spiritual energy on the space station is so thin it can be negligible. Formation definitely won't work. Environmental limitations. There are only 2 cultivation methods I can think of. First, from the planted flowers, grass, and trees. Searching for medicinal herbs and plants. Breakthrough in pill refining. But this shoot Dan furnace and Dan fire. Not sure if you can get it here. This path is somewhat difficult to walk. Part 2. Taking the path of an evil cultivator. Using living people as furnace tops to refine great medicines. But you don't even need to think about it. There must be surveillance everywhere inside the space station. Once you leave the chamber, you'll be arrested. This is the way to go. You must first obtain unified management consensus. This path is not difficult, but dangerous. The next day, I got up early. He followed Yang Sai to the base's greenery area. According to regulations, newcomers debut at the space station. There will be receptionists guiding you through daily routines, and also diligently studied common sense. Yang Sai was my receptionist. What did you do last night? Why didn't you reply to so many messages? I followed for a long time. It should be very busy. I don't really want to go on a date. Install. Trying to pretend with me, huh? I've seen too many people like you. Many people born in the 21st and 22nd centuries. When they first arrived, they all liked to put on airs, but as time passed, basically, you can let loose. Seriously, do you think I look good today? How about coming to my place tonight? I have other clothes to wear for you to see. I'm really not joking. You really want to ask me out from now on? I appreciate your kindness. All right. This kind of green planting area, there are many on the space station. The main focus is on purifying carbon dioxide and release oxygen. High carbon dioxide density, a speck of dust at the bottom. So the green planting area, basically at the very bottom. Wheat is also grown here, bell peppers, lettuce and algae. Half of the area is spent growing algae. Another method is to utilize plant transpiration, purifying wastewater. Although inefficient, it saves costs. If you can't finish the process, distill it into purified water. The work area is equipped with public terminals. New employees must pass exams to join. Once recorded, you're ready to start anytime. Let's get started. I see your file shows you did planting before, right? And know a little about it. Look behind you, there's a pot of aquatic plants growing there, right? I saw it. What do you call the water plants? I don't know what this aquatic plant is called. However, I have a special talent for plant cultivation. Though he could not recall his name, but its function is immediately recognizable. Alright then. Tell me what exactly it is used for. If I'm not mistaken, this aquatic plant has hemostatic and anti-inflammatory effects. Bland-flavored, cool in nature. It can be used both medicinally and edibly. But the taste was bad, and it is not advisable to eat too much, especially for women who are physically weak and have cold constitutions. Eating them brings great harm. Have you ever seen this kind of aquatic plant before? You should have seen it. It is commonly found near rivers, ditches, and ponds. Not a rare variety. Good, not bad. The aquatic plant behind you is called hornwort. Though the name contains the character zao, but not algae. Instead, it is an angiosperm. Yeah, I remember. The shadow in charge of the onboarding assessment is the space station's management. They have always been swift and efficient in their work. He speaks bluntly, especially for the lower classes. At this moment, he could patiently explain. Snaphozoa is definitely a rare occurrence. Look at the left-hand direction of the hornwort. Is there a pair of plants with 7 leaves? I know this. This is a medicinal herb. It's called sanchi. It's the exact opposite of hornwort. Warm in nature and beneficial for the stomach and liver, it has the effect of tonifying qi, activating blood, and promoting smooth growth. There is a slight bitterness when chewing. Not bad, not bad. Your name is Mr. Xie, right? Yes. You passed. From now on, you'll be the head of District 031 for the Legal Profession District. If there's anything you don't understand, ask more questions and learn more, you know? I remembered. Well, let's leave it at that. Wow, you're amazing. You just started and became the person in charge. Do you know how many points a person in charge can earn in a day? How much? I work as a psychologist and receptionist in the resurrection zone. That's already pretty good work. He only earned about 200 a day. Overtime is a bit higher. You're different. You're in charge of managing others. There is no overtime. Late arrivals or even no-shows still take points. I heard the person in charge for a day. You can earn about 1,000 points. 1,000? I don't care about points. This is nothing more than currency used to exchange for supplies. What I value most is the plants here. Even before the assessment began, I then scanned the plants in the hall. With his keen insight, he quickly discovered it. There is an unknown algae, and a herb with a fragrant red and yellow aroma. It carries a small amount of spiritual power, although not much, but for someone like me who hasn't sold the cultivation threshold yet, it's more than enough. Only absorb this spiritual power. I was absolutely confident. Break through and practice chi exit. I can't wait to absorb it too. But since Yang Sai was present, it was inconvenient to act. After becoming the person in charge, he became even more enthusiastic toward me. It took a lot of effort to send him off. Just as he was about to make a move, people who had gone inside gradually arrive. As the person in charge on the first day in office, inevitably, another round of social gatherings is expected. Once the trivial matters were finished, it was already evening. The space station overcame gravity. The spiritual water of algae is shallow. I silently operate the primordial world I learned in my previous life. Swallowing the heavens awakens. He began to slowly absorb spiritual energy. In the cultivation world, the techniques for forging weapons and auxiliary devices are largely similar. This cultivation method, in other words, the name is loud. In reality, there is not much difference. As spiritual power kept gathering, a cluster of energy the size of an egg quickly formed in the Wozi residence. Ordinary adornment. Continue the process for 10 days, half a month, or even several months. But as a reason stage powerhouse, I am reincarnated. Retracing the old path naturally leads to a swift success. Just as I was about to break through to the early stage of artifact refining in one go, suddenly, a voice sounded at the entrance. May I ask if your name is Xieshan? It's me. What's wrong? I am a member of the Separation Society. We came to invite you to join us. I wonder if you're interested. Separation meeting. Never heard of it. I'm not interested. What I want to tell you is, the space station's leadership had actually long since fallen into corruption. They never even thought about returning to Earth. And like ordinary people like us, don't work hard to accumulate points. After death, he is most likely resurrected in Tower Prison. But the upper management doesn't need it. Even if you do nothing, even after death, they can still be revived on the space station. And their food and drink are top-notch. So after a while, they only think about maintaining the status quo. I don't want to change all of this. Many people actually don't know. The entire space station is divided into 3 levels, upper, middle, and lower. Ordinary people like us, he could only stay on the 3rd floor. Work hard every day to earn points. All for the sake of being able to be resurrected after death. The 2nd level is responsible for revival work. Living conditions are much better, and they have priority resurrection rights. After death, he was ranked 1st. What about the 1st layer? No idea. People on the 1st floor hardly ever show their faces. When communicating, they also cover their faces with mosaics. So we have always been skeptical. The 1st layer hides secrets. As he said previously, the shadow responsible for assessing me. So I kept using mosaics to cover my face. Those higher-ups really have issues. I kept it in my heart. Actually, the day you were resurrected, we're following you. Normally, most people undergo psychological assessments. At most, you can get from B to C. Only a very few can get an A. As for S-class, that is the only thing that has never been there. Only people from Tower Prison can get it. You can still get an S from Tower Prison. You are the 1st, so our separation will be heavy on you. I now officially represent the Separation Association. We invite you to join us. I wonder if you're interested. Give me some time. You can't just say anything now. I believe in whatever I do. He. You're new here. It takes time to understand the situation. I'm not here this time just to have you join me. I just wanted to get to know it first. No harm. You're not in a hurry to reply. It doesn't matter whether you add it or not. By the way, I'll share some useful information for you. You say, as expected, tomorrow night, the upper floors will head to the 3rd floor living area. Release fundraising jellyfish. This was used to create large-scale riots. Perform system cleanup. Jizzy jellyfish. What is it? Some kind of mutated entity? Yes. That's what the higher-ups did. The goal is to reduce harm through this approach. Not really. If you want to lower the population, just reduce respawns. Just a few people would be fine. The executives did this mainly to make everyone aware. The space station is dangerous. You never know when you might die from an accident. As a result, to be able to come back to life after death, naturally, everyone will work with all their might. What exactly are the jellyfish you mentioned? How can you avoid it? They are large and can fly. Translucent, able to pass through terrain regardless of obstacles. So hiding in the room is unstoppable. Then the tail is covered in spines. Toxic. If you are covered, you can almost faint after just a few steps. That's probably all I know. Alright, I remembered. I have a problem. You only came to me with a black cloth covering your face. Aren't you afraid of being seen by surveillance? Don't worry. The space station functions rely on solar flipping to generate electricity. Force-filled container battery energy storage. This technology is quite old. It takes up a lot of space and automatically discharges. Plus, with the growing population, electricity is actually quite insufficient. Not saving your account. At night, the space station cuts off all the power in the work area, including monitoring. Only the surveillance in the living area stays on 24 hours a day. That's why you came to the work area at night to find me. Seeing that the sky was already late, The suit is hard to return at the left and right times. After confirming there was no one nearby, he tightened the black cloth and sat watching Yuli. Let's stop here for now. I'm leaving. What are you doing here? I messaged but you didn't reply, so I came straight to you. No one was waiting for him. Exhausted beyond measure, I slept right in your bed. Sorry about that, that doesn't really matter. The key is how you got in. Isn't this my room? Your room password. I helped you get it. Have you forgotten? Why not just squeeze a bowl with me? I don't understand why you feel embarrassed. You're just too reserved. Maybe you have confidence in your looks. He thought I was just pretending to be reserved after a casual complaint, so he started to get retired. But I was fixated on the herbs in my pocket. After picking the spirit herb, the spiritual power will gradually dissipate. You have to make the most of it to absorb it. Green plants are limited in obtaining spiritual herbs. I don't want to waste it. He was about to refuse out loud. Before he could speak, suddenly, a sound rang out in the living area. The sound of electrical circuits echoed. The hall lights flickered continuously. Oh no, oh no. Probably those monsters, heading to the living area again. Every time monsters invade, the space station will always have emails. A monster, huh? I didn't expect it to come so soon, knowing that a monster was coming tonight. Not tonight. The exact time that person mentioned was tomorrow night. Unexpectedly, it was already early. Tonight might be a fundraising jellyfish. If it were him, hiding in the room probably won't help, right? He was an exception who could walk through walls. Are you sure it's him? Uncertain. It's not a pity for the person providing the intelligence. Then let's just stand at the door. If it were him, we fled immediately. If not, so he closed the door and hid in his room. This? These strange creatures. Do you know where this came from? Not sure. Maybe outer space. Not long after the space station was built, they started to appear. Until now, no one has figured out how to deal with it. There should be a lot of high-tech weapons inside the space station. For example, the kind that can emit lasers. It's useless. Those jellyfish seemed as if they didn't exist. No weapon could touch it. Except for people. No weapons needed. How could humans possibly handle monsters? So, every time they appear, the higher-ups could only watch helplessly. Once they are full, they can walk on their own. I don't even know why. After giving the jellyfish some time, Yang Sai became much more obedient, though they often come to see me, but no longer made excessive demands. That's fine too. I enjoy a peaceful life, spend more time on spiritual practice. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. During the day, I was in the greenery area, absorbing the spiritual power of the spiritual herb Lingji. At night, secretly bring 1 or 2 plants back to the room to practice flowers. Although he didn't have much sweat spiritual power, but cultivating at the chi refining stage is just water demon skill. Half a month later, I successfully broke through to mid-stage of direct chi refining. It was just as evening was about to end work. Yang Sai took the initiative to come closer. He immediately noticed the change in me. I'm going. You put on makeup. How is that possible? When have you ever seen me put on makeup? Then your skin. How did it suddenly become so good? It was as if something had been painted. How about it? Do you like me even more? I really liked it even more. I used to think you were just a little good looking, but now, I really think you're handsome. Sorry about that. Excuse me. That one. Your girlfriend. You should go back first. I have something to take care of. You really are different from others. Even the jellyfish appeared that night. You bring your girlfriend, jumping down from such a height. There was actually no problem at all. You are watching me. No, that night you jumped down from such a height. We have noticed this. Isn't that perfectly normal? Very good. Don't pay attention next time. No need to be so cautious about me. We don't really have any conflicts. The time you gave before was problematic. You're talking about the next night. But that very night, the jellyfish arrived. Margin of error is normal. We are not gods. The intelligence available is not necessarily 100% accurate. I wonder if you've heard of mechanical power armor. We recently got a set of the latest models, C21 armor. However, it demands a lot from the wearer. You need very strong mental strength to operate. We have recruited many people to cultivate, including you. Mechas? How strong could the armor actually be? The speed definitely won't be fast. In terms of reaction power and instantaneous acceleration, organisms are always much faster than machines. Its advantages lie in defense and destructive power. It is said that the C1's maximum thrust can reach up to 10 tons. That's equivalent to 5 SUV sedans. What about battery life? Full power can last about an hour. Standby time should be at least half a month or more. Besides the power specialist armor, we also have people who can do mechanical modifications. If you're interested, I can recommend you become a cyborg. Mechanical modification. I just said, the power to blow armor can't match the reaction power of living organisms, but mechanical modification is different. Transforming humans into semi-biological, half-mechanical bodies. It combines the responsiveness of a raw rabbit body, and the strength of the armor and its defense. Apart from pain, there are basically no drawbacks. And what is pain? Missing parts of the body after modification. You feel an inexplicable pain. This is not real pain. It is a hallucination produced by the brain. It's a common after effect of cyborgs. Actually, the after effects aren't really a big problem. After being transformed into a cyborg, if you want to go back on your word, you only need to restore your body and set up your appearance. After all, we can still be revived by the resurrection technique, but judging from his description, the combat power of cyborgs and mechs, at best, it's basically just a late-game support refinement. If you add all kinds of high-tech weapons, maybe it can be retouched by the early stages of the Golden Man, showing off your wrist, but that's how it was launched, not to mention having to endure the Phantom Child's torment. In light of this, I didn't show much interest. After a few sentences of response, he then asked, by the way, a little inquiry. Do you know where to get a floating spirit? Major taboos and aid digestion. The first major hurdle on the path of cultivation. It was about breaking through from post-chi refining to the bottleneck of strike chi, unless someone is exceptionally gifted. Moreover, there is great fortune within oneself. Otherwise, you must rely on external resources. For example, holding the strike pill. Nearly 90% of cultivators are cultivators. It was all thanks to its breakthroughs. This elixir is incomparably precious. Moreover, it is extremely difficult to refine. In my previous life, I spent time researching, successfully forged countless times. The formula is still well remembered to this day. The spiritual herbs needed for refining. Most have already been found in green zones and will have alternatives. Only the God of Fortune and the Great Taboo. It has extremely high requirements for vintage and spiritual energy. It is simply irreplaceable, with no other choice. I asked him for help. Fortune gods and major taboos. The digestion you want is actually easy to handle. As long as you're willing to spend points, you should be able to buy it on the black market. Black market. Just to earn some extra money. That's perfectly normal. It's like you're in charge of the spirit division. Some people happen to want the plants grown inside, and then you happen to want to earn more points. That's what you ask for. Isn't that just a deal? Got it. Then what about the black market? Where can I find it? No fixed place. Strictly speaking, as long as there are people trading, even if it could all be considered a black market. After all, private transactions are strictly prohibited by the space station, so it can't be too blatant. Understood? What about Fushan and Dakue? The Fushan and Dakue you mentioned. It should be traditional Chinese medicine on the space station, except for a very few relatively precious plants. It will be planted outside the first layer. Most of the remaining plants are in the greenery area on the 3rd floor, and you're in charge of the greenery area. So if even you don't have it, then go somewhere else. It should be even harder to buy. Then you separatists are here. Could you help me go up to the 1st floor and take a look? If you can get last year's Fushan and Bridge, I can buy it with points. Or maybe I'll give you other benefits. If I can help, I definitely have to help you, but I want to go to the 1st level. The difficulty was just too great. The person with the highest status in our group, it's just working on the 2nd level. People on the 1st floor, we simply can't reach it. It's really hard to get in. But still, I actually have another way. Maybe it can help you. The key is whether you're willing or not. What kind of solution should you say first? Although the space station's oxygen is available, food and water, all of these can be achieved through self-circulation using solar energy, but it's self-circulating. In fact, it cannot contain all substances fully utilized by the capital, plus various equipment from the space station. There is wear and tear every year, so to keep the space station running, they had to constantly replenish supplies from outside, like metals and minerals, and oil and water. All of this had to be transported back to the surface by tugboat. You mentioned the clock, so you were thinking, let me take a tugboat to Earth. The problem is, I don't know how. Don't worry. Technology will always develop toward simplicity and convenience, so driving a tugboat is more important than driving a car. It will definitely be simpler. Once you get on the tugboat, once you hear someone teach you, you can basically master it. Then help me like this. What do I need to give? Tugboats to Earth. It probably won't be easy to get. Tugboat spots aren't particularly rare, right? After all, this workbench doesn't get much advantage from it, unless you're especially lucky. He happened to find some valuable items on the surface, but the probability of this situation is relatively low. As for why I helped you, isn't it because they see your potential? Anyway, we're responsible for helping you secure tugboat spots. Then you join our separation society. How about it? Do not rush first. I want to ask, in the case of resurrection magic, humans have remained on the space station all along. That means there must be danger on Earth. So I went to the surface afterward. Maybe I need to be on guard against something. There is a creature on Earth called this, a monster that cuts crossbow sentries. It crawls on all fours, are covered with black armor. Then, it usually only appears at night. You can hardly see them during the day. So how are we supposed to deal with this kind of monster? They couldn't handle it. Just like the jellyfish you saw. The Xiangsu Sentinel also appeared mysteriously after the resurrection surgery. Their combat power is extremely strong. Even laser weapons are hard to harm them, unless it's at a certain location in advance. Deploy strategic-grade shockwave transmitters. Otherwise, if you encounter those monsters, you can only run, of course. The premise of escaping was, you must have undergone remodeling surgery. Otherwise, it's just ordinary people. There's no way they can outrun those monsters. As for the number of people who can leave the ship, we can help you get it anytime. But the remodeling surgery had to be done quickly. You can't start whenever you want. So you'd better give us an answer in advance. That way, we can help you arrange it. Can't you get me a mechanical power armor? The modification surgery was hard to accept. Not a little can be done. The cargo capacity left the ship was already very limited. If you really have to force a mech in, that basically means there's no place to store supplies. So, tugboat drivers are usually cyborgs. No one said they brought mechs down. How? You're not afraid of the pain after surgery, are you? I remember when you were resurrected on the space station. Didn't he get an S rating? How? He didn't even dare to have surgery anymore, to gain enough attention. I felt it was necessary to reveal some of my trump card to the other side at this moment. So I decided to go with the tin can, right in front of the man in the suit. Luck, inner intelligence. He forcibly twisted the iron pipe in his hand into a twisted twist. Is this a superpower? You are born there, or maybe it's because they've been trained through acquired training. I think it's both. In short, my physical fitness in all aspects are much better than ordinary people. No wonder. You jumped down from such a high place that night and it was fine. So, I plan to do so without undergoing remodeling surgery. Go straight to the surface. No problem, right? I don't know. Your situation is too important. I need to go back and discuss it with the others first. Only then can they accurately return to your room. But don't worry. I only discussed this with a few core members of the Separation Society. I won't reveal your secrets. Can you give me an exact time? How long exactly will you discuss this? Then how long will it take for the tugboat to be ready? Within a month. I'll definitely arrange everything for you within a month. Is this okay? Yes, you can. Then it's a deal. It's a matter of course. Mr. Xie. After discussion, the core members of the Separatist Society, all of them expressed willingness to pay a heavy price, focus on cultivating you. This includes providing you with the resources you need. If you die unexpectedly, you will be placed in priority respawn queue. Alright, got it. This is the infinite headset our people paid a great price to get. With this, once you arrive on Earth, you can stay in touch with us all the time. Once on the surface, there are two tasks that must be completed. First is our mission. You need to draw the corresponding geometric patterns. Use resurrection magic to resurrect the person we designate. As for who exactly will be resurrected, we'll tell you when we reach the surface. Then came the space station mission, where you land. Its underground contains a large amount of sudden star stone. The surface of this stone is brownish yellow, yellow with a hint of green. Easy to recognize. We've already sent you the comparison on the tugboat. When the time comes, you can just use the drill bit from the tugboat to mine directly. You can store as much ore as you can. If the tugboat doesn't fill up, the remaining space is used for storing water. However, there are two places on the surface that absolutely cannot be visited. You must remember this. Which two places? First place. It is the site of the old city, because the tower prison was basically built on the site of the city. There are many great figures active in that area. If you go there, you're basically courting death. So if you see the tower, just stay far away. As for the second place, it's just a huge lump. It looks a bit like a human brain. Qingdao core. Even if you run into them, you should keep your distance, because I mentioned the crossbow sentry I mentioned before. During the day, he stayed inside the core of the Shi crossbow. Understood. Since the contract has already been signed, then let's look at this so-called separation meeting. What exactly is being planned?